Okay, where did we leave you last time? Just to remind you, we left you with two equations now. And the equation we left with were, a plus b equals x. And the other equation we left with was a minus b. And that was equal to 1 minus 1 over x. Well, I'm going to add them together. And what would you get? You would get 2a. And I'm going to write down this way, x minus 1 over x plus 1. Now, the reason for that, I recognize this guy over here. And I want to get an equation of one of those two unknowns now. And what is x minus 1 over x? Well, it's right over here. I'm just going to say it's a squared now. All right, let me write that down for you. So 2a is equal to a squared plus 1. And that's quadratic in a. Let's write this down. 0, I get a squared minus 2a plus 1. And this turns out to be a perfect square. And that perfect square is going to be a minus 1 squared. So now I know a is equal to 1. All right? So if a is equal to 1, can you figure out what x is? And that's my goal. What I would do is I would look at this equation over here. And that's 1 equals that. And I'll write that down for you now. So 1 equals the root of x minus 1 over x. I would square both sides. You would get 1 equals x minus 1 over x. I would multiply both sides by x. You would get x equals x squared minus 1. 0 equals x squared minus x minus 1. And that's not going to be factorable using integer numbers. So I'll write down the solution here. X equals, I'm using the quadratic formula, twice the coefficient on the squared term on bottom, which is 2. The opposite of the linear term, coefficient, which is going to be minus and minus 1, which is 1, plus or minus. Let's see, the linear term's coefficient squared, that's 1, minus 4, times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 1, that's the constant, and that's going to be plus that there. So what do you get? Get something pretty simple. You get two answers, 1 plus or minus the root of 5 over 2. All right? I do want to claim, though, that x can't be a negative number. And let me just point out what I mean that. 1 minus root 5 over 2 is clearly negative. And remember, when we talk about the domain has to be 1 or greater. So the only possible answer I get now is x equals 1 plus root 5 over 2, which is the golden ratio. Right? That's the only answer. Thank you.